Welcome to America's Top Rebbitzins. May this class be for Rafu Shalema, for Chaim Eliyahu ben Sarah, Chaim Lev ben Aharona, Chaim Mordechai ben Shimona, and Chaim Nachman ben Rivka. Please click on the subscribe button to subscribe to us on the America's Top Rebbitzins YouTube page, or click follow to follow us on your podcasting app so that you are the first to know when an inspiring episode is posted. I am genuinely excited today to have Davira Reichman Bareli. Davira is a homeopathic practitioner and a yoga instructor. She's passionate about making a difference in people's lives through natural remedies. We're going to learn a lot more about that today, and I personally can't wait. I'm really genuinely excited about this. So thank you so much for being here, Davira. Please tell us more about yourself and what you do.
Thank you, Vera. Thank you for having me. I'm truly honored, and I'm excited that you're excited to learn about homeopathy.
Yeah.
So a little bit background about myself. I currently live in Israel. I was born here, but left when I was 4. I was raised in America, in Brooklyn. And then we made Aliyah. We came back to Israel from the 5 towns from Woodmere about 8.5 years ago, and happily living here in Israel. And I do treat people who live not only in Israel, not only locally, but because of Zoom, thank God, I'm able to treat people all over the world. So I have a lot of clients also overseas. And I'd like to tell you a little bit how I started in homeopathy and what got me attracted to it. Originally, when my first 2 were about 2.5 years old, and the little one was 6 months old, they both came down with croup. Most people know croup. It's like that barking cough.
Yes.
So of course I went to the pediatrician, and they wanted to give them albuterol, which is it dilates the lungs.
The lungs, yes.
So I read the side effects, and I said, I can't give this. I can't give this to them. So I went to a health food store, and I got lucky. I found something that said on it croup, and it was called Spongia tosta, and I didn't know it was homeopathy. It said croup. I tried it, and it was these tiny little white pellets, and it was like magic because it matched, because it's what they needed. I put, the second it touched their tongue, literally the second it touched their tongue, it was gone. And I was like, what happened here? How did that happen? It was wonderful. And then I bought a few more remedies, but I didn't understand what homeopathy was. Many years later, I was introduced to a homeopath, which I assumed was a naturopath because I didn't know the difference.
Right.
And I had hired her to help another one of my children who had constant headaches and allergies. And then I saw that she had those little magic white pellets. I said, wow, I have that. That's homeopathy? I didn't know. And because of her, which we became very good friends, and I started studying on my own. And I experimented on myself and mostly my husband, sometimes on my kids, and sometimes I got lucky, and I would give a great remedy and it would help. Now that I studied professionally, I understand that I didn't know what I didn't know. So it's important to know why you're giving a remedy, how often to repeat it, what dosage to give.
Right.
So that's how I came to homeopathy. And then for myself, I also was treated, I had very bad lower back pains, including stenosis and herniated discs and sciatica.
Right.
Very painful.
Yes.
So basically, I was told by a couple of doctors that at one point I would definitely need surgery. And that's not my route. I didn't want to do that. So I went to another homeopath, and within 4 months, I was 90% better. And then I stopped taking the remedy, and then it continued to get better and continued to get better. So it was as if I'm healing without taking anything, because it's not the remedy at that point. It's actually my own body doing what it's supposed to do. Because homeopathy, it's like, let's say our body is meant to heal.
Yes.
It's meant to, right? We're not meant to be sick.
Right.
So homeopathy, it's like a little nudge. It's a little nudge not just for your physical body, but it's mental, emotional, and it's for the immune system, or rather what we call the vital force. In Chinese medicine, it's called qi.
Yes.
So that's the part of the nefesh that gives us life. That's what is expressing symptoms that come out outwardly, if that makes sense.
It
So
totally makes
this,
sense. This is
so there's
mind-blowing.
an
Wow.
illness there's a deeper illness that comes out and saying, I need help. And it may come out in a migraine, and it can come out in horrible sciatica pain, but it comes out. And so I was treated. And once I was treated, I said, that's it. I have to learn this professionally,
Right.
that I know that this is a gift for humanity.
Yes.
People don't know about it.
But it's so like it's fascinating. Like back, you know how many people suffer from back pain, all different forms of back pain, especially like the herniated discs and sciatica. I've heard so many people, complain about it and really suffer from it, like genuinely, really, really suffer from
Right. So
it.
I'm also a yoga instructor, as you mentioned,
Yes.
and I began yoga because of my back, and it did
Huh?
help me a lot, but it
Okay.
didn't get to the root problem. I
Okay.
continue to teach yoga. I continue to practice yoga. I think it's a great way for to stay fit physically. It's great for the mind.
Yes.
It's just great for everything. But I don't see it as for example, when I had my sciatica problem,
Hmm.
I stopped yoga for 1 year. I couldn't teach, I couldn't practice. So it wasn't that the yoga was going to heal me,
Right.
but it keeps you feeling healthy and young and flexible. But at that point, I needed something much more. It was
Right.
much more, it was more of a deep-rooted problem.
Right. So this is what we're going to get into today because I think this is like the iceberg of how fascinating it is because you wouldn't think that you could be able to cure sciatica through homeopathy. So now this is like brings me to like the point of our whole conversation because I've also been interested and intrigued by homeopathy and I know so many other people are too. And I just want to get everybody on the same page. Can you tell us exactly what is homeopathy? Because I think as we talk more about it, we can understand why it's so effective.
Okay. First, I'm just going to show you these could be purchased um, locally in America, especially in like the vitamin shop or any health food store.
What is it?
These are homeopathic pellets.
Okay.
Okay. Um, they look like this. I don't know if you can see how tiny
Okay. Yes,
these are.
for the people who are listening on Spotify, they're really, really
Oh,
tiny
okay.
white pellets. No,
Tiny,
it's good. So
tiny.
people on YouTube can see it, but just
Yes.
wanted to
There
describe
are
it.
different sizes. Some of them,
Yeah.
the larger vial, the balls are a little bit larger. These
Okay.
are about the size of a sesame seed. That's how tiny they are.
Super tiny. Yes.
Right. Sometimes I take one of those little tiny pellets
Hmm.
and I dissolve it in, this is a little dropper where I fill it with half vodka
Okay.
and half water.
Okay. Vodka and half water. So equal parts
The
vodka and
vodka,
water. Hmm.
right, and the vodka is just as a preservative.
Okay.
And this would be used 1 drop into a full cup of water, and from there, a teaspoon. So you're getting very, very, very little of the medicine.
Okay. And is that in
So
conjunction with the pellets or that's separate from the pellets?
that is the pellets.
Oh, that is the
That is
pellet.
I put 1 pellet in this little drop of vial
Okay.
and dissolve it.
Got
Just
it.
one of
Okay.
those tiny ones that I showed you.
Yes. So you take a vial, small vial. I just want to describe it for the people who are listening on Spotify. So you take a small vial, like a dropper vial, like imagine like an eyedropper, small vial,
Mhm.
and you put equal parts vodka and water. So half vodka, half water, and then
And
you take
one
one of those
tiny
tiny
pellet.
pellets in there, and then it dissolves. It dissolves in the vodka water mixture. You take
Yeah.
one dropper full. You take a cup, a
Not
separate
dropper
cup.
full, not one dropper full. That's too
Yeah.
much. 1 drop.
Ah, so one drop. You take the dropper and you put one drop into a cup of water.
And from the cup of water, we mix it and we take 1 teaspoonful, and that's it. We spill the rest of the water out.
Wow. So one teaspoon from that cup of water that has that one dropper in there.
Correct. Correct. One
Wow.
drop.
Okay. One
Correct.
drop, right.
Right. So but what are remedies, right?
Right. Yes.
What are they? So it's let me start before that. where the idea comes from of homeopathy. So it comes from, first of all, it comes from the Torah,
Really?
which is amazing.
Yeah.
Which is amazing, yeah.
Yes.
So I'll give just one example. One example is when the Jews were in the desert and they were very thirsty, and for 3 days they didn't drink, and they came to a river and they wanted to drink, and the water was very, very bitter. So what did Moshe do? Moshe Rabbeinu, he took a branch from a tree that Hashem showed him. It was a branch that was bitter. Not the same bitter, but a similar bitter. The water was bitter and the tree was bitter. So he took a piece of the branch and he put it in the water, because that is the law. It's a universal law from Hashem. Like cures like.
Like cures like,
But
wow.
notice I didn't say the same. It's not the same. It's similar. Like cures like. Domeh b'domeh. In Hebrew, we would say domeh b'domeh. It's something similar. Whatever can cause symptoms in a healthy person, whatever can cause symptoms in a healthy person, that same medicine can cure a sick person that has similar symptoms.
Okay. Can you give an example?
I'll give you an example. If somebody has a cough, they will go to the doctor and get a cough syrup.
Yes.
To suppress, to stop.
Yes.
A homeopath would match the type of cough, what time the cough is the worst, because sometimes people cough more in the middle of the night. Some people wake up coughing. Some people have a wet cough. Some people have a dry cough.
Yes.
Some people, and it depends. So we would match a remedy that can cause that similar type of cough in a healthy person, meaning if I take that remedy for a few days in a row, I will start to develop a similar cough. So that same remedy will heal the person who's sick with the cough.
That's mind-blowing. Wow.
Right. So let me just give you a simple example without remedies.
Okay.
All right. This may make sense to the audience. When we're in the kitchen and we're getting ready for Shabbat and we're in a rush and we're cooking and all of a sudden we burn ourselves. We burn our hand, we burn our finger. What do? What's the first thing we do?
Ice water or ice.
Ice water,
Yes.
ice.
Yes.
Why do we do that? Because
to cool it down.
To cool it down. So there's a primary reaction and there's a secondary reaction. The primary reaction is you put it under cold water or ice water and you get a relief.
Yes.
Right? But what's the secondary reaction? What happens when you remove your finger from the water?
It blisters.
It blisters.
Yeah.
It burns.
Yes.
It becomes red. It becomes hot. It gets worse.
Yes.
So what do we suggest as homeopaths? We say, go to the source of the fire, go by the heat, and put your finger not in it, but next to it, next to the heat. So you put it close, you take it away, you put it close, you take it away, you do it a few times, 5, 6, 7 times, it doesn't matter. But what is the primary reaction when you get your burnt finger close to the fire?
It gets hotter.
It gets hotter and it hurts a little bit more.
Yes.
It hurts a little bit more. Sometimes when we give a remedy before there's a cure, it a little bit makes it a little bit like
worse.
A little bit worse before it cures it.
Okay.
Once you do that 5, 6, 7, 8 times, within a couple of days, there's maybe a little bit of you see that it was burnt. Within a week, it's gone. It's not red. It's not blistered. It doesn't hurt. You don't need to put ointments on it. Nothing.
That's amazing.
So I know. It really is. It really is. Every time I get a message of when someone feels better and they say it's amazing, I'm always shocked. I'm always amazed. I'm always thrilled. It's amazing. It's a gift from Hashem. It's a gift from Hashem that for some reason, well, I know the reason, but the world doesn't want it out. You can't patent these things. They're very inexpensive. In America, this costs $7.99. In Israel, it's between 40 to 50 shekel.
Is it where you can get it at a health, like Whole Foods here in America? We have Whole Foods
Right,
or,
right.
yeah.
So they only sell one potency, which is a 30C potency.
Okay.
Sometimes you need higher potencies. For example, 200C, I like to give when someone has an acute. An acute is something like COVID.
That would work for COVID? I mean, I'm asking all the questions. I'm asking
So
like as if
it's
I
a,
don't know anything.
right. So when I started treating people, they said, how could you even think that you would know what to give COVID? It's brand new. The
Right?
world has never seen something like this before.
Right?
But all the symptoms of COVID are the same symptoms of other flus in the past. What about the 1918 flu? You get headaches, you have a runny nose or a dry nose, or you lose your sense of smell. That is not something new, by the way, that everyone thought, oh, it's COVID, I can't smell. It's
Right?
going on a long time. Backaches, muscle pains, thirst or lack of thirst. So there's this Hahnemann who is the he made homeopathy into a system of medicine. He didn't create it because obviously we know that
It was
Moshe
always
knew about
around.
it. It
Right.
was always around. It was
Yes.
always around. But he made it into a system of medicine. And what he did was he did experiments. And these experiments are called provings. What he did was he took, like I said before, healthy people,
Hmm.
and he would give them small little doses of something, and they would write down all the aches and pains and sensations and everything they would feel. And then as soon as the remedy is stopped, everything goes away. So he recorded it in this book. It's called The Chronic Diseases.
That's the title of the book, The Chronic Diseases. Okay.
Right. It's materia medica. It's materia medica. It's lists and lists of symptoms of every symptom you can imagine of every remedy of the homeopathic remedy and all the symptoms. So COVID has a name, COVID-19, but is it new? No, it's you treat it just like a flu. You treat it just like anything else. So, which is an important point that I actually want to add is we treat the person rather than the name of the disease, the name of the diagnosis. Who is sick? Who is the person who is sick? How old is this person? How is he experiencing the pain? Everybody's different. There are some people who get COVID who have no thirst. They're not thirsty at all and they want to sleep all day long.
Right.
There are some people, I treated one lady, I remember she was saying, she said, I'm so thirsty that even if I put my tongue on an iceberg, it won't help. I'm so thirsty.
Right.
So she would need a completely different remedy that causes someone to be thirsty than the other person who's thirstless and sleeping all day.
Right.
So not everybody who has COVID gets the same remedy.
Even though they have the same illness, because it presents
Even
differently each person.
presents differently in everybody.
Yes. Yes.
Some people have muscle aches, some people don't. Some people have headaches, some people don't. It
It's
depends. It always depends on how they experience the illness.
it's
So
so
the
fascinating.
remedies,
Yeah.
yes. So I just want to get back to what are the remedies?
Yes. Yes.
What are they made from?
Yes.
So they're made from anything in nature.
Okay.
It could be a plant, it could be a mineral, and it could be poison. We have a lot of poisons. But by the way, the remedy that I needed for my back was a poison. It's called arsenicum,
Like
which is
kind of like arsenic.
arsenic.
Right.
That's what it is. And
Wow.
that's, yeah. And they're very, very highly, highly, highly diluted. And this is where modern medicine has a very big problem with it. Because if you look under a microscope, there's no material substance there. There's no molecular substance of the original material, of the original substance.
Right, because it's so diluted.
It's not, yeah, it's diluted. It's also succussed. Sakas means they shake it vigorously to bring out the healing properties. So that may sound like very like out there and weird, but if I give you an example, steel.
Like the metal
If
steel.
there's like the metal steel,
Okay.
if from the ground, it has iron in it. But if you want to make it into a magnet, it's not a magnet when you take it out of the ground. But now you want to take it and you want to rub it. There's another process, by the way, it's called trituration, that the remedy is crushed. Just like by the way, when Moshe, just like when he came down from Har Sinai and he took the golden calf and made it into a fine powder, and he put it in water and gave for everyone to drink. It's a similar idea. So it brings out this energy. So when you rub the steel together, it creates this energy that that's a dormant energy.
Okay.
It brings it out and makes it a magnet. So a lot of all these remedies have dormant, all these remedies, everything in nature has dormant healing energy. And Hahnemann says, and he thanked God for this, by the way. He said that it didn't come, he said it came from him, but it came from God and it came through him. He says that he was not Jewish, by the way, he was Christian. Mm-hmm. And he said this is a gift because it's impossible to figure out all these things. So he figured out how to wake up the dormant healing energy in substances in nature. So that's what these remedies are.
They're the dormant healing the dormant healing properties really in substances in nature
that you have to match to a specific person. Now, if you give the wrong remedy to someone who has COVID or anything I'm treating, either the person, if it's the right remedy, great, they'll get better. If it's completely off, it doesn't match the person at all, they'll feel like they drank a teaspoon of water with nothing in it. Or four things. Or first they'll get a little bit worse and then better.
Right.
Or they'll actually get worse because the remedy kind of pushed them off the edge a little bit, and now you need to change the remedy. And that can happen because we're human and we do make mistakes, of course, you know.
Right. So that brings me to the point. How do you know? How would you know? So you know what? Would you mind if I tell you some of my symptoms, and if you don't know, you don't know. So I'm maybe you can help me with something.
Oh, I would have to take a whole case here. First of all,
please.
I have to take notes.
Right.
A session. I call it a session.
Okay.
The first session lasts two hours.
Oh, so it's a really big intake. You really, really get down to the finest details.
I want to know you not just from head to toe, inside and out. I want to know how you think, how you feel.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really special because that's really where I was getting at. How do you know what to prescribe somebody? That's really what I was getting at, because
so once I collect all the
yes.
symptoms,
Okay.
think about a puzzle, and I get all the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
All the pieces. But then I see there's a couple pieces missing, and then I have to become a detective.
Right, and ask the right questions.
And I have to ask the right questions. And sometimes it's uncomfortable questions.
Right.
Very personal questions.
Yeah.
That need to be asked in order for me to decide between one remedy or another.
Right.
And then I have to do a lot of research. All this is online, so I could do a search but I have to find this person's symptoms and compare it to the symptoms of the remedy.
Okay. Right. To make sure that you're giving the right amount and the right dosage and also the right remedy.
Correct. And then there's a way of taking the case and understanding the case. This is called the organon of medicine that Hahnemann wrote. It's like the Torah of homeopathy, lahavdil. It's not the Torah, but then these two books are crucial for a homeopath to prescribe the proper remedy for the person who's suffering.
Okay. So I want to get like an idea of the scope of things because I mean, does homeopathy treat everything? Like, does it treat cancer, for example? Something like that. So that's big.
Right? That's huge. It's
Yes.
that's a big question. Um, First, I'd like to say that modern medicine cannot treat the common cold.
Right. True.
Homeopathy can.
Yes.
Homeopathy can. A cold is just like like instead of like the flu or COVID, it's a smaller version.
Right.
And yes, we can treat it,
Which is amazing.
which is amazing. I recently treated a mother who had a cold, and her baby had a cold, and the mother, it's a newborn,
Right.
the baby nurses.
Right.
The mother takes the remedy, the baby gets it through the breast milk, and they
Fascinating.
both and they both heal.
That's amazing.
It's fascinating.
It's the beauty of nature.
It's the beauty of nature. It's the beauty of nature. So back to your question, it's um it really it depends. It depends. There's different kinds of cancers. And again, we don't treat cancer, we treat the person.
Right. Yes.
So now, who is the person? What type of cancer do they have? What is their health? Because a person doesn't get sick overnight. A person doesn't just get cancer overnight. It's not
Right.
one day they're fine. That's what it seems like to the rest of us, that, oh, what happened? She was fine. How did the, it's a process. It's a long process. But all of us have cells that grow and die. And at any given time, any one of us can have a diagnostic test and find, and maybe cancer cells will be found.
Right.
Maybe they call it early detection.
Right.
But maybe if it was left alone, the body would just heal itself. And not heal itself. Maybe they were just changing. They were ready to die anyway. The body, was under a little stress. The person didn't, it could be many things. But right away it's treated because it's considered early detection.
Yeah.
If it was left alone, we don't know because most people go get it treated. But a lot of times people come to homeopathy after it's already diagnosed in a late stage. A lot of times they come to homeopathy after they've tried everything else. And the vital force, the part of the nefesh that gives life is already, it's not strong enough anymore. It's not strong enough to continue. We can't do magic. We can't turn something like that around.
Right.
Perhaps if the person came right away, perhaps homeopathy can help. There's a lot of ifs, there's a lot of it depends. We can definitely palliate, meaning if someone does decide to do chemo, radiation, all that, it's up to them. There are horrible side effects.
Yes.
We absolutely can treat the nausea, the weakness, all the symptoms. There's pain that comes along with it.
Yes.
So we can help with that. But that would be alongside the conventional medicine. But what I do suggest is, rather than go through any of that, God forbid, is when symptoms do arise, whatever it is, we all have certain susceptibilities certain weaknesses in our bodies. Either we don't adjust well to cold, or we get migraines from the sun, or it could be many, many things. Someone can have Raynaud's in their hands are cold all the time. Whatever those symptoms are, all these little symptoms over time, they build, and these are that can grow into cancer, meaning if there's a stress in a person's life, if there's something bad happens to them. if there's an accident, if there's a problem with a relationship, if there's, God forbid, a death in the family, any stress can make all these little things that weren't such a big problem, all of a sudden, maybe can be something like cancer, maybe not. We don't know. So what I suggest is treat everything homeopathically. Don't come to homeopathy as your
The last resort. Yeah.
last resort.
Right.
Try it first, not last.
Right.
Because maybe something would have grown into cancer now, you would never know, but thank God it's nothing now. It's gone.
And
I've
that's
had something treated for myself on my skin that was quite horrible looking. And I didn't go check it. And I had someone else treat me. One of my teachers who's amazing, helps me all the time with many things. And whatever, it's gone, it's nothing, and it's all good.
Thank God. Thank God.
So
And so okay, so that's for the cancer. But what about like different types of things like ADHD or ADD, things that are not maybe physical symptoms, but maybe mental symptoms, things that, people are just obsessive compulsive about things. Maybe they're oppositional defiant. Maybe they have anxiety. Maybe they have depression. Maybe ADHD, just things
yeah,
that present themselves more
there's
mentally.
a lot of labels today.
Yes. Right.
The children are being labeled and
Yeah.
they're being medicated.
Yes.
A lot of children being medicated. Yes, I have treated and I do treat ADD and ADHD. And just like everything else, it depends on the child. It depends, even the physical appearance of a person can help determine the remedy. For example, I may have two children, they could even be twins, and they both have ADHD, and one is very skinny, and one is more plump. For that reason alone, they're going to get different remedies. One is very, very active. He likes to climb. He likes to do things. And the other one is clumsy. He doesn't like sports. He rather sit on his the video games, play the video games.
Right.
So you would have to look at the type of child. You also have to look at the medical history. A lot of times children have strep throat.
I
And
had
then
it all the
after
time
strep,
growing up. Yeah.
and now there's this new thing. I don't know if you heard about it. It was pretty new to me. It's called pandas.
I don't know it.
Children are getting strep and then they're not healing from it. And they all of a sudden have this mental emotional switch where they're just different kids. They're violent. They curse like a Tourette's syndrome.
Oh my
They
gosh.
hit, they curse, they do inappropriate, have inappropriate sexual behavior. I've treated children like that. So these remedies, again, I have to sit, I have to take the case, I have to see the child. A lot of times I work over Zoom, I have the child sit next to the parent. And I also like to see how the child reacts when the mother is talking maybe things that are not so nice about the child. Sometimes the child will hit her. Sometimes they'll be shy and turn away. So I need to observe. I need to see who am I treating, not what. Not
That's a
that
huge difference.
diagnosed with a
Yeah.
label,
Yeah.
with the So we have wonderful, wonderful remedies for ADD, ADHD, and the schools also are pushing a lot to put kids on Ritalin,
Adderall. Oh yes, I've been
Adderall,
there.
right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And there is another way. There really, really is another way. I mean, there's other things also to do. A child should not be sitting have his own phone. He should not be playing games all day long on the videos. That's also a big
factor.
problem in
Yeah.
society.
Yes. Oh yes.
It's also a very big problem in society. And also I have to understand the background of the house, how are the parents getting along? How are the parents treating each other? What's the relationship with the other siblings? There's a lot of it's 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 everything. It's like I'm a therapist, I'm a pediatrician, I'm a gynecologist, I'm a proctologist, it's everything, because we treat everything under the sun that could be treated, anything that could be treated, of course.
So then I'm going to ask about the big one that everybody's wondering, especially in this day and age, weight loss. We have this Ozempic craze going on, so I have to ask about weight loss.
That's how we,
Yeah,
that's how we connected
that's right. That's right. That's right.
on
Yes,
Facebook. That's
yes,
right.
that's right. Yes.
So some people see this as it's a great kickstart to, lose some weight. I'm very, very against that. I must say I find it to be very, very dangerous.
Why is
Two
that?
people, two people approached me for help. I did not treat either one of them, but they did approach. A lot of people approach me, but not everybody wants to go through with the treatment. But two people approached me that they had difficulty getting off of it,
Off of Ozempic.
off of Ozempic. They lost a lot of weight,
Okay.
and now they want to stop,
Okay.
and they can't get off of it. One had extreme vomiting, and the other person diarrhea. Couldn't stop. Had to go back on it.
Oh yeah.
There are long-term, very, very bad long-term effects. And it's not the answer. There's an underlying problem that homeopathy can address because again, we're treating the whole person, the mind, the body, the soul. What's causing a person to overeat? Sometimes it's genetic. Sometimes it could be hormonal. It could be a thyroid problem. There could be a lot of things. So there's not a remedy because I would be very, very, very wealthy
Yes.
if I had here's a remedy to lose weight.
Yes.
It doesn't work that way. But I can treat a person so that they're balanced. They're balanced in their body, in their mind, in their soul. They feel good. They feel good about themselves. They don't have difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. They don't have skin rashes. They don't have constipation. They don't have diarrhea. They don't have migraines. They feel good. When you feel good
Yeah.
and you're confident, you want to take good care of yourself. You want to
Yes.
you want to take care of yourself so you could do good work in the world. That's the point. I should have made a copy. There's an aphorism here in this book, in the Organon of Medicine. It's the 9th aphorism where I'm not going to quote because I don't remember, but the point of homeopathy is to get a person to be the best person they can be so that they can do the best work in this world to make this world a better place.
That's so
So
beautiful.
it's so beautiful. So just to lose weight, is the person healthy? Let's say they lose a lot of weight and they look thin and they get compliments and everybody, is like, wow, what'd you do? Is the person healthy?
Right.
We're looking for health, not for a skinny person.
Right.
And not everybody's meant to be skinny, by the way.
Really?
No, 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 no. Everybody has a certain what's ideal for them. I'm not talking about obese. I'm not saying that obese is okay. That's not okay, but not everybody's going to be skinny like a model. It's not meant for everybody. Some people have a little bit full here and there, but it's the ideal. That's the best that their vital force can do to keep them healthy. And that's what they need.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. I've noticed that too. I've noticed that about myself. I've noticed that about other people. I agree with you. Not everybody's meant to be a size 0, and that's okay, and they don't need to be.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. We're all individuals, and that's what
Yes.
homeopathy is about. Is about you're an individual. And by the way, yoga also was never meant to be taught like in a big class and everybody following and everybody doing vinyasa or everybody doing ashtanga. It was also meant as an individual prescription. And
Really?
yeah, so and like the Patabi Joyce, who's the creator of Ashtanga, he went to the same guru as Iyengar went to, but they went for different problems. Iyengar was a very sick little boy, and he needed to strengthen himself. So he was given very specific poses and worked on alignment, how to align the body. Whereas Patabi Joyce was 16 years old. He probably had ADHD. He was very hyper. They would have put him on Ritalin back then.
For sure.
But instead, the same guru gave him this sequence of a lot of floating, jumping forward, jumping back, And today it's called Ashtanga Yoga, which is, so everyone goes to the class and it's not meant for everybody to work their body that hard. Some people need a slower pace.
This
We're
is
all different.
This is like mind blowing because I'm thinking of myself. I've been to many different yoga studios and yoga classes in gyms, in out of gyms, like in little boutique spaces. And I'm thinking, wow. And I'm looking around the classroom. Not everybody could do everything, and also me. In some practices I can do, in some practices I can't. And but I never understood that it was like a particularly like it was a very specific for each person. Here in our society, it's like another class, like an aerobics class, like a step class, like an abdominal class. It's like everybody goes and everybody takes this class, no matter what level you are, no matter if it's right for you or not. You just go because you just want to go get that workout. I never looked at it like the way that you're describing homeopathy. It's very specific for each person. I never looked at yoga in the same way.
You have to listen to your body. You have to listen to your body. If a class doesn't, it's not right for you, take a different class that is right for you, that makes you feel great. Not that afterwards you feel like, oh, I pushed myself, so now I feel good. You should feel good while you're doing yoga, not just after. You should feel good while you're doing the yoga practice.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's very good advice, actually. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then I want to ask you because when we first started talking, you were talking about homeopathy versus um, naturopathy or a naturopath, a homeopath versus a naturopath. Can you tell us like what is the difference between a homeopath and a naturopath?
So they use the physical substance. They'll use the actual herbs.
The naturopath.
Right.
Okay.
The naturopath. I'm not very familiar with it, and I'm not sure if it addresses the whole person, but all I know is they use the entire herb, and we don't use it, and we don't use it, especially if someone's using herbs. I ask them to either stick with what they're doing. If they want to start homeopathy too, I won't ask them to stop, but I'll say don't add anything else, because if you already started herbs and you're doing it for 2, 3, 4 years, you know already your results.
Yes.
So anything new, any new improvement that happens,
Yeah.
it's the homeopathy, it's not the herb. So this way, I'll know. I'll
Right.
know.
If there's a change, right.
Right, right. But again, we use the energetic, we have the energetic part, that healing energy that comes out of the remedy. That is what heals.
It's fascinating.
And I'm not sure I never went to a naturopath, but I'm not sure if they speak about the mind and the emotions, and if they take a whole intake of the entire person. I'm not sure if one of your listeners, if they maybe they want to comment and educate us on that, that would be great.
Yes. That would be great. I would love to learn more about naturopathy too. But you also brought up a good point because I was going to ask you, what if people are taking like the traditional Western remedies or Western medicine for whatever symptoms they have, like just like a pharmaceutical drug, in other words, can they do homeopathy in conjunction with the Western medicine, or how does that
They
work?
can, they absolutely can.
Okay.
It's more difficult. It's more difficult. For example, a lot of people, a lot of people are on anti-anxiety medication. Many people.
Yes.
And when they're first prescribed this, they're not told that they'll never be able to go off. It's very difficult to stop. There are people
Yes.
taking it for 30 years. They can maybe lower it a little bit. They can't, they have a very difficult time getting off of it completely. So it's, it, their symptoms are being managed. They're not being cured. Homeopathy, you're not allowed to say the word cure, but that's what we go for. We go for cure,
Right.
not for a Band-Aid. We're not looking for a Band-Aid.
Right.
I have people that are